What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be swapping out the spark plugs on our 2012 Tahoe. And the first thing I did, obviously, pop the hood. The next thing that we're going to do, well, actually the first thing we're going to do is remove the boots from the spark plugs. So if you look on the actual engine here, you can see the coil packs on the top. If you follow those down with the wire, you'll see each individual boot. There's going to be 4 on the right side, and then you're going to have 4 more over here on this side. And what we're going to start off by doing is grabbing a hold of the boot itself, and basically what we're going to do is just twist. So we're going to grab that and just twist around like that, and just to kind of break it free, help break it free, and then we're going to pull it out. So I'm going to do that for all 4 on the right side and continue the video. And I took off all 4 from the right side, so they're all dangling there, and it wasn't actually that bad. They weren't stuck on there as bad as I thought they'd be. I did spray some WD-40 in there for a few seconds just to help loosen it up if it was tight, and then I just turned the boot there on all of them clockwise and counterclockwise, and then I just kind of pulled it out. One thing to take note is you don't want to pull it out from the wire. You actually want to pull down from the actual boot itself, so that way you don't break the wires if you don't have to replace them. So I'm going to go ahead and do the left side over here. This side looks a lot busier. Looks like we don't have much clearance for a couple of them here, but I'm going to try to get them loosened up, and then we'll touch back with you guys to continue the video. All right, so I did the whole left side. I took out the wires here. Same deal, pretty easy. Actually, on this side I didn't even put WD-40, so I don't think it was that big of a difference with and without. Obviously the rear left side, the last one all the way over there, was the most difficult, just because you got more stuff in the way, but still wasn't too bad. At least to remove the boot wasn't too bad. So we'll see how the install goes for the actual spark plug, well, the removal and the replacement of it. But to remove the boot wasn't too bad, but I can already tell it might be a pain, just because of the lack of space that's in there. So now we're gonna go ahead and start with the right side and get the 4 removed from the right side. All right, first one's out, and this is what a spark plug looks like at 100,000 miles. This is the new one we're going to replace it with. Man, that's embarrassing. Let's go ahead and put the new one in. Before we install it, obviously we want to talk about the gapping of these. There's a lot of talks about whether or not they should be at 60 or 40. I mean, if I answer either one, I'll probably get negative feedback from the party who says otherwise. But really, as long as they're all gapped the same, whether it's 40 or 60, there's not too big of a difference. I'm using the OEM AC Delco plugs for this, and I'm just going to double check to see what it's at, and then just use whatever it's gapped at here. Whoa, sorry about that. Normally we don't have to re-gap, but I always like to check just because. A little bit of anti-seize on these, and then you want to hand tighten. So what I did was I just removed my my ratchet from the extension, and I just hand twisted it slowly, just to make sure I'm not crossing any threads. And then once it's on there tight, or at least finger tight, then you want to go ahead, take your ratchet and adjust the tightness of it. Give it another maybe half a turn, quarter turn or so. You don't want to overdo it either. And I will put the specs for the torque in the description. I just don't know them off the top of my head, but once I get all 4 of those in and out, we'll continue. Okay, so we got all 4 of the new plugs installed. Now we're going to go ahead and put the boots back in. 4 boots are in. Now we're going to move over to the tough side here, and we're going to start removing those old plugs. We're all done here. I got everything put back together. Number 8 in the way back was a pain. That one was really tough to try to get the spark plug removed and put back on, just because of lack of space. I didn't use any extension. I just used the actual socket, and then I used a swivel instead of an extension, just because there wasn't much room to use an actual extension. But I got it on there, and got everything put back in. It took me about maybe like 2 hours to get it all done. All right, so quick note, when we're doing this side here, it's really all about the angle, the way that you get your hand in there in order to undo the boots and then the spark plugs themselves. So I had a little step ladder to help me get it at a good angle. I held the phone with my left hand, and then I kind of got in with my right hand like this all throughout all 4 of them, and that helped me get a better angle and a better grip. I did actually end up moving or taking this off of the clip here and just setting them aside. I've seen some videos where they basically put the boot excuse me, they put the boot back onto the spark plugs as they're replacing them one by one. I thought it was a lot easier to let them all just dangle free, because then you have access as you're going down to the more difficult ones on this side. You have access to actually move them out of the way as you're working, and versus if you put them back on, then you kind of really don't have that much room. So I let them all off. I replaced all the spark plugs, but I didn't put the boots back on until I was done with all of them. And then I started from the back, moving my way forward to put all the actual wires back into the spark plugs. All right, we're gonna check out the truck now. We're gonna turn it on to see if there are any check engine lights from any misfires. If I plugged in the plugs all correctly, there should be no check engine lights. So let's crank it on and find out. Everything seems good. Hopefully you guys learned how to do this. God bless.